Halo Studios will end Halo as a franchise. I hate that I said that, but it's true. And before you come to my comment section and say I'm just some old crazy Bungie fan, just listen. So, Halo Studios has been in the 343 rebrand for almost 3 months, and this isn't even their first controversy, and yet it's almost worse than anything 343 Industries has done. Basically, the first day there was this huge controversy about the new Chief of Staff because she's a pansexual black woman with no prior record job related to Chief of Staff. She was an audience researcher. Basically, her whole job was researching the audience of games and voice for them to be more accessible and diverse, researching the amount of accessibility and diversities were in these games and yada yada yada, in these communities, yada yada. She's been on record in tweets and statements being extremely aggressive towards other people online, especially regarding women in the tech industry, trans rights, trans athletes, and politics. And the biggest concern was that she would use her position of power to force diversity into Halo games more than what 90% of the community is comfortable with. Mind you, out of the millions of likes and thousands of followers I have on TikTok, it's mostly men, like 97% men. And most of these men are very against woke ideologies, and more so than the internet makes you think. Oh my god, my cat. My cat knocked off my water bottle off of my nightstand here, but she's okay, cat's okay. But as I was saying, people are concerned that the forced diversity will ruin the franchise like it's doing to Marvel and Star Wars. Mind you, the only good shows from either have actually had minimal woke ideologies as possible. Now, the next controversy was right after all this came out about Melissa Boone, and it was from Will Waltz, a former animator for Halo Reach 4 and 5. Will had stated that the new leadership was cancer, and that is a direct quote. He stated that we, the Halo community, will hate how creatively limiting they are, and Will has gone on record even saying that the other developers in the studio were asking to switch to the Unreal Engine for a while, even before Infinite's production even started. But the directors and Pierre fought against it, and then laid off the loudest voices for the Unreal Engine just to finally take their advice and begin the next Halo game on the Unreal Engine and make an entire announcement video to hype it up. Now at the time, we didn't know how true they could be. We were just getting off of allegations that 343 was a toxic workplace for employees and hated hiring Bungie employees. Although that was debunked, the community's concern over Melissa Boone and Will Waltz were ignored. Now, 2 months later, present day December, they finally added in credits towards Forger's maps in Halo Infinite, a weird addition that should have been there at the beginning. However, here's where it gets concerning. That sparked a conversation from Forgers who had stated that they weren't getting compensated or thanked for their work, but expected to make it and just hand it over, losing all the rights to the maps they worked so hard on. Now, although controversial, I do think that they deserved payment or compensation for the maps, even if Halo Studios was going to take away the rights from the creators. And I still think that Halo Studios should make their own maps and not force the community to do so, but I digress, that's a different topic at hand. But that brings us to the newest and saddest news. The Digsight team that brought us the Halo 2 E3 demo and Alpha Moon were apparently not being paid throughout their work, even though it was suggested that they were. However, the Digsight team did understand and sign acknowledging that fact. However, it was under the pretense that they were making small maps and digging for vehicles and AI models just to bring small things to life that were never finished from the original Bungie games. For example, like the Halo 2 Juggernaut Flood form. However, Halo Studios pressured them into making the Halo E3 demo over a 3-year period and Alpha Moon within 2 months, both which were nearly full-time jobs. Alpha Moon was a full-time job for people who weren't getting paid for it. And after the successful release of the E3 demo and Alpha Moon, it left Halo fans with a full stomach of enjoyment, which Halo Studios realized that they needed to keep up with, and so they asked the Unpaid Digsight team to make more of this old Bungie content, and when the Digsight team respectfully asked for either monetary compensation or dev support, since they couldn't even afford to live, they were denied. Now, all that work that Halo Studios had to make them make got leaked on 4chan, which was the 1999 Halo Macworld RTS build, which is playable and can be modded upon now too. But now all the Digsight slave workers are resigning, and I call them slave workers because they are quite literally slave workers. They weren't getting paid, they were just getting forced to work, and it's just slavery. Neoti Aika, the main man behind the Digsight team, I probably butchered his name, but I apologize, but he is the GOAT. He's also our eyes and ears inside. He stated on Twitter, "I do not believe the studio behind Halo will ever actually engage or support the legacy or community interests of Halo, with any sincerity or authenticity for multiple reasons. Partially also why we quit." End quote. Now, this statement from Neo actually adds up with the past controversy with Will Waltz, both stating that Pierre and Halo Studios is creatively limiting and also suggesting it's a toxic workplace, which, if you want to go even further, adds up to all of our other accusations of them being a toxic workplace, historically. And just an FYI, Marty O'Donnell, the GOAT, has made a tweet telling us consumers to not buy the Halo soundtracks on vinyl, likely because Halo Studios isn't going to pay them royalties or compensation, and they do have a record of not treating Marty with any respect whatsoever. So now this is all a problem, especially with Halo Studios closing themselves off from the community and our concerns more than ever. This will for sure mean the end of old Bungie content being renewed. It could mean the end for mod support on Halo and MCC, and it definitely marks the end for the Dig-Site team. One of, and if not the only reason, Halo fans actually had hope in Halo Studios. This hurts especially because the Halo community is the only reason why Halo as a franchise is still afloat, either when it comes towards content creation on TikTok and YouTube, or when it comes to Forge creations on the game itself. The only reason why we can say Halo is still afloat and still has a group of people that enjoy the game is because of the community. The development studio has done jack shit except for do these practices of shitty business practices and things that would probably get them sued if anyone was smart enough. And we just have to sit here as Halo fans who just want to play Halo and enjoy a good franchise and have to watch as the developers eat itself apart and eat the franchise away.